because this is really valuable for people to hear that, that this body of work exists, that there are people out there doing this already and they can join. This is like a portal or gateway for people to know that others are here creating. I was talking with Julie about this today, creating a different culture already, a culture that is radically different from modern culture, from a culture of competition, of perfection, of power over, of patriarchy, modern culture, which is not sustainable. And when I say that, I feel some sadness and also some anger about it, but really it's not. This is the fuel that drives me to create something different. Because the culture, that modern culture, that patriarchy that exists is not bad, it's not wrong. It serves its purpose really well, because its purpose is that what it does. And any pain that you feel about how the world is, or where you lost your connection to yourself because of the impact that the world out there had on you or has on you, like any of that pain is really is gold, because that can bring you to change, to transformation, to evolution. And and that's what expanding your box is about. This is about, you can the start into a journey of going to the edge of the known, that which is so familiar because it's been around all the time, and then leaning into that and creating something different. But before I go deeper into that, I'm gonna say hello to Severin. Welcome. And I'd like to hear your voices, just so we know where you are and who you are, maybe your name, and if you want to, where you are and what interests you here. Who would like to go first?
I can go first. Hi everyone, I'm Liz. I am going to be hosting physically the ETB next week up in Kerikeri, and my interest in it has come from doing some possibility management workshops, doing with a friend of Julia's, Janet, and I've had amazing growth through it, and I just getting excited about expanding my box, and through the process of like hosting and organizing this with Julia, I've just I am expanding my box, but getting excited about sharing it with other people. So a similar feeling, and really happy to see how it's kind of working in my life at the moment. This week I've had lots of really good positive changes in my communication, and it's been awesome to see. So that's why I'm here.
Thank you, Liz.
And hello to everyone. Thanks for showing up.
Thank you.
Hi everyone, I'm Amanda. I'm really here because Liz put me into this group. I really don't know much about it, but I've got a curious mind. At the moment, I'm in my little cabin on my little bit of land near Mangawhai on my own at the moment. And so I'm anyhow going through some transformations with my own life through various different modalities. So anyhow, I'm here for curiosity and to see if this, because I can't be there next weekend, but maybe it's something I would look into in the future, and maybe it will become part of my kit of tools. Yeah.
Great. Thank you. Welcome.
Hi, everybody. My name is Severin, and I'm originally from Switzerland. So you hear, I'm not a Kiwi. So I just came here because my ex-partner with her children lives here in Nelson. I just moved here, and I actually did an expansion here in Miami, and that was amazing. And I just finished a lab maybe 3 weeks ago with Clifton in Mexico and his partner, which was really amazing. And to be honest, like my life has been falling apart. I'm here because I love my children. I want to see my ex-wife and I want to find a way. My communication has been blocked, or let's say I have had a very difficult time to really express and speak my feelings for many reasons. And I'm here because I would like to hear, like, I cannot join next weekend, but I want to know, this is kind of the sort of community I'm looking for. And I'm literally here with my children and just naked. And I am willing to go to this huge transformation, and I'm looking for like-minded people because my ex-partner is going in another direction, and I want to honor that. I don't want to fight against that, but that's not my journey. So that's why I'm here. Thank you.
Great. Thank you, Severin.
Hi, I'm Julie and I'm in Wellington. A little bit like Amanda, I kind of found myself here. I'm also curious, and I just have an awareness of building for the future, like building something new, but I don't, I guess that, just have that awareness. I don't know, I don't like that word actually. It brought me here. I'm looking for a new job, and so I'm in a crossroads again, which is interesting, and learning to get to know all my inner parts, which is a gradual process, which is very interesting in a way that I can relate to my body and what it's telling me. So it's a gradual evolution in that process, which I'm grateful for. I think that's all I feel like saying right now. Thank you.
Thank you, Julie. Yeah. I'm in Auckland right now. I moved here only a couple of weeks ago from Taupo, where I spent the last 5 years. I'm originally from Germany. I grew up in Germany for most of my life, and yeah, love being here in New Zealand. And I started my possibility management journey just before I came to New Zealand. Was really one major piece in the puzzle for me to even be able to change my life the way it did. And everything really unfolded from that time, and so that I was able to finally leave my lawyer's job, which I had been unhappy with for a long time. But then, yeah, sort of something opened up in me so that I could actually consider these other possibilities rather than liking them and then following my belief system that it's not possible, or rather than listening to the stories that I would make up that all of this is a nice fantasy, but you got to be serious in life and you got to work hard so that at the end of the day, it's a very German thing, so maybe not so relevant in New Zealand, but you need to work hard so that at the end of the day, you get a pension, you can retire, and then you can start living. And that just, yeah. So that opened up this other non-linear life path for me, where I ended up in New Zealand and working in an office for another couple of years, but then really also committing to this body of work and building that up on the side, and becoming a potter on the way, and doing pottery for a couple of years pretty much exclusively, and now the pottery has faded out, and I'm really focusing on this body of work on creating Next Culture together with a team here in the North Island. And there's a whole team, and I'd love to connect you with those if you're not connected with them yet, which is in Takaka, Motueka, so really close to Nelson. So there's a really big community there already. yeah, and so I'm committed to sharing these tools because of the power that they have to bring people home to themselves, or to empower people to reconnect to their soul, their being, and other resources than the mind. And expand the box training is sort of the initial training. It's a 3 to 5 day training. It's an immersion, and it's intense for the purpose of expanding the box, which is this. So boxes, what do you understand as a box? If you want to play this game with me, I want to know what your understanding of it is, or what you associate with it. What is box for you when you hear expand the box?
For me, it's like limiting beliefs or things that I feel like they want me to do, or what I feel is acceptable. And of people's expectations of me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Mm.
I think the box is like into the world, and we're put into a system that conditions us, well, I say this about myself actually, conditions self to follow a pathway, and teachers to somehow give the power away, and that the autonomy in the mind to plug into this. Sorry, this sounds quite deep.
Mm-hmm.
Get plugged into the system like a hamster wheel. So we forget that the body can have a lot more messages and tell us a lot, and so that becomes a bit of a box. And all the things that I learned through the childhood, and those parts that take on the stories and kind of get fragmented, don't know that they aren't the truth or aren't the self energy, or self-centered being, and that becomes the box.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so stories and frameworks from society.
Yeah, as well, yeah.
Mm-hmm. And we've got expectations, Liz, and all of that. Any association that you have with box, Amanda, when you hear that, like something that pops up for you?
It's very square and linear, and a box feels quite like quite a trap space, really. So no, I don't. To expand it, I presume, well, in my sense, would be to open it. But we live in a very, the world's been designed to be quite linear, and so a box is quite a linear space, really. So the opportunity to be more curved and voluptuous with life, I think, is probably a better place to be.
Yeah. Thank you. Linear place, or a linear way of being. What's your experience with box, Severin?
I relate to everything that you already have mentioned. Like the keywords for me is limiting, or also feeling myself very conditioned, or survival mechanism where I perceive like I have to. So it's coming out of a reaction rather than from a place where I'm having, the word, here we go, having possibilities, and where we're coming from a place where there's many different options, and it comes rather from a flow rather than from a stressed or hurried place of needing to.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, that is a great hint. This is, you know, universes, we don't know where the limits are of the universe. It's the same with possibilities. There are it's like vast, unlimited potential out there. There's unlimited possibilities. And as humans, we usually see like 99% of them are invisible to us. We don't see them. We have access to 1%. And what's between us and this vast, unlimited potential is our box. It's our belief system, our ego, something you could call some personality or like worldview, character. And it's this really rigid structure. It has to be this way. And some of these box patterns are really subtle, so that it's hard to even find them because they're so woven into our thoughtware, into our beliefs. And what you said is totally accurate. You know, that's what's in there. Like, it's limiting. It's just, there are all these expectations in there, not just from the outside, but often, like, mostly really what limits me is my expectation. Is in the expectation that I have in my box on myself. Even maybe the expectation that I have to fulfill someone else's expectations. So then only someone else's expectations become a problem for me. And then stories and beliefs on how the world is, beliefs about myself, about others, about what's okay, what's not okay. All these things make up in assumptions, and that all makes up stories, opinions. That makes up the box. And the box, yeah, Severin, you mentioned survival mechanism. The box has a purpose. It has a noble purpose, even to make sure you survived. Make sure my box had this purpose, that I survive, because childhood is a vulnerable place to be. And so having a box is a really good idea. So it's not a bad thing, and that's why it's called expand the box and not crush your box or destroy your box or explode your box training. It's expanding it. It's acknowledging that at a certain time in life, this box becomes a limitation, and that time is around adolescence, when we would be ready for initiation into adulthood, which doesn't happen in modern culture. There's no process for that. In Germany, you turn 18, you can get your driver's license and feel free to drink any alcohol you want, and you can vote actually as well. So there's no process to support people, young people growing into like a free natural adulthood. It's more associated with age. When you have that age, you're an adult, which actually doesn't match, because people don't grow up into adulthood in modern culture. Most people. And there's this, so at the age around 16 to 18, our box is ready to expand from being defensive for survival to becoming expansive, so that it can change and continuously evolve. A precondition for that to be possible is that we have like clarity about who made the box. Who made your box? There's two options. They did, or you did. So if I speak for myself, like my box, either they made my box or I made my box. And what would you choose? Like which option? Like scientists still debate what's the right answer, but what would be your answer? What would you choose?
I think I did.
You didn't, really?
To say, but within whatever's environment I come into.
Okay.
The box, and wants to. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Amanda, you had something to say?
Oh, I think it's both, really. I think we're influenced externally that creates our box, and then we create our own stories and our own self-defeating beliefs or whatever we may have, or not or put up our survival mechanisms depending on our upbringing and depending on how we experience life and how we right from that time of birth, where that trauma can have astounding effects on who we are and how we grow and develop. So I feel like there's both has definitely influenced my box, but more so now, I say my box is more defined by myself at this stage in my life, much more than what it was earlier in my life.
Thank you.
That's how I feel.
Mhm. Yeah, thank you.
Amanda, do you mind turning off the thanks. Now I don't hear you twice. You're still not muted your microphone.
Just great.
Yeah, that makes a big difference. Well, I would say I'm just coming to terms that I have chosen, or I choose. And I would say for a long time I have gone with that victim attitude of this happens to me and I'm at the receiving end, which is definitely disempowering. And that's also how I felt for a lot of time to deal with that. And I'm just in this transition. And I also, I'm really grateful for the language and the skills that Expand the Box or the lab is offering to really step into using the energies of the feelings and making them conscious. And so to choose, even though that has been for once the way I grew up or what I have chosen or what has chosen me, but now to deal with it consciously. So,
Thank you. How about you, Liz?
I think for me it's a lot of both, I was laughing with my friends the other day, we're talking about non-binary people and how they've chosen they as a pronoun, and I was like, oh no, somebody should tell them that they have got a lot to answer for, because when you talk about the they made me do it, or they are putting these restrictions on me, I was like, oh, they should choose something new. But I think a lot of my boxes, it's my conditioning from my parents' beliefs, and it's also in my experiences in my life, and creating that survival mechanisms, and so like you say, it's a bit of both, and like Severin has mentioned, I have been so enjoying the language of possibility management. I was thinking today how it's I've worked a lot with autistic people, and it feels a little bit autistic, like it's very particular about pulling your feelings apart and looking at them, or trying to figure out where they come from. It is helping me to just find that clarity. And I haven't done the expanding the box yet, but I've been willing to give it a push.
Thank you. Yeah, I mean, what's really important to me is that there's not one right answer. The question is more, and that's the whole Expand the Box context is about that. It's about what are the results that you create depending on the answer that you choose. So now if they made my box, then it's like I can go, like Severin said, I can go into this victimhood easily of, wow, they did that to me, poor me. And it's disempowering. It's not about them, because it's about me. And at the same time, then I can be inclined to think that I have to wait for their permission to change it. So the empowering, like the potential of empowerment is in this choice of I did, even if the environment definitely, I mean, there's things that happened that were outside of your control and that the environment sort of offered. And then, different, I've got two sisters, we have the same parents, we grew up in the same environment, and at the same time, they chose different things in their boxes from the same experiences. If my parents had something, a fight or something, then, and we were both in the same, or all three of us in the same space, they would take other conclusions out of that into their survival mechanism than I did. So for me, this empowerment in this choice of I did is, it gives me this radical power to choose something different. And not disregarding that there have been these influences. So it's about which kind of results can I create when I take that back, that power back to me. And then there's this, call it a distinction, which makes a separation between two things to make it clearer, and that opens up more possibilities. So the distinction here would be, I have a box, but I am not my box. And neither are you. So neither are you. Have a box and you are not your box, which means if I tell you something about your box, I'm not insulting you. I'm giving you information about your box. Or if I keep it closer to home with me, it's like if I discover something about my box, the box I might discover that my box says something like wow, these non-binary people, they should just choose one pronoun, or what's the fuss about? But I can discover that that's my box. There's a belief, and usually as soon as there's a should, it's a box thing. Okay, when you discover something like this voice in your head that says should, it's usually a parental ego voice or from some outside authority figure that you internalized. So that's box stuff. So I can notice that, and that voice is not, it's not like it's gone then, but I can choose something different. Okay, yeah, that's interesting, but I still want to have this conversation with this person. I want to really hear from my heart to their heart what really is going on with them, for them, what their reality is. So it opens up this space for a real authentic connection when I'm not having these stories between our connection, these box stories about how the world should be and how people should treat me, or how people should be about their lives, all these ideas and concepts and stuff. That's the power of it, is also that I can transform my stories about life, about my limitations, about there's no limits really, about the stories that I can change by taking responsibility for them. And that's sort of the red thread that goes through Expand the Box training and possibility management, is like a really different approach to radical responsibility, to responsibility as such, where responsibility in modern culture is quite a heavy thing. And also that is sort of that's a story that's really deeply ingrained in people. And I notice that in myself, that it's so easy to put together responsibility with fault or blame or burden and heavy and hierarchy. So whoever is furthest highest up in the hierarchy has the most responsibility, meaning if something goes wrong, they'll get all the blame and they're in trouble or something. So some people strive for that kind of responsibility, others try to avoid it. But that's not the kind of responsibility I'm talking about. So radical responsibility is, I talked with Julie about that today already. So it's this learning. That's part of the adulthood initiation that I mentioned. It's growing into a really fully grown, like internally grown, not just physically body grown adult who has access to all their resources, and like that is all feelings, their destiny, the bright principles that are fuel for your life, like the purpose that you're here for. Unseen resources, like there's archetypal lineage that can fuel you. There's resources outside the mind that you can get access to. And being in an adult state requires that Ellen is joining. So being in an adult state is what Expand the Box prepares you for. And from that place, you can take radical responsibility where you become the source of your experience. Hi, Ellen. Hello, welcome. We're just talking about I'm talking about radical responsibility, and what that means is, this becoming acknowledging that you are the source, just like you sourced your box. Like, yes, there were these experiences, and then you source how you relate to these experiences, and that gives you the power to create anything, to source anything. And then radical responsibility is this immense power of creativity that you have, and learning to access that again is mind-blowing. And there are steps on that journey, like there's lower levels of responsibility. The majority of modern culture is of people in modern culture are in childhood level responsibility, where there's, I create a mess and then I wait for the adults to clean it up. Like I might, as a company, outsourcing to cheap labor in Asia so that I reduce my costs, and the long-term effects of really like unhuman conditions for Chinese workers, not my problem, someone else handle that. Or dump rubbish dumps, or even buying plastic. Like I'm doing this experiment this month of not buying any plastic. If I buy plastic, I put money into a pot, which will then go to a project. Doing that with a friend, that will then go into a project to reduce plastic pollution. But it's this, whenever I buy plastic, it's this childhood level of responsibility. I buy something that I know is actually rubbish and is unsustainable, and I still buy it. And it's not about beating this up. It's only to show the level of responsibility that's there and which results it creates. It creates pollution on the planet, and in turn, it's not sustainable. So adult level responsibility is where you look after yourself, and you learn to, if we stay with a rubbish example, you drop rubbish, so you make sure you pick it up. Or in terms of emotional sustainability, so it's a sustainable culture if you live in adult responsibility, where you have an emotion, you have a feeling, and you feel it and you use it to say what you want. So you're angry someone, like say, I'm angry someone, what's an example? Angry someone's not returning my phone call. So I can go, oh, this person, I can go to my friend and say, this person never returns my phone call. That's avoiding responsibility because it's not effective. I'm gossiping. I'm using my anger irresponsibly sideways. So instead, I could call that friend up myself and say, hey, I really want to speak with you. Would love it if you'd call me once in a while. Or so I could negotiate. I could make a proposal. So that's adult responsibility. And then higher level of responsibility is to start caring for things outside what you created. So in that gossiping example, someone comes to you and says, well, did you know that this and that person does always this and that? And in that moment, you can start saying, no, I don't want to hear that. We can make a boundary there and say, hey, or you can empower them to speak to that other person because you care about the space between these two other people. So you could navigate, you could learn to say, hey, what do you feel? And then they can say, oh, actually, I'm really pissed off. And it's like, oh, you feel angry. And then you can support them to take that anger and use it as a resource to actually have the conversation with that person directly, as an example. And then radical responsibility is about really no more excuses. It's about, creating with no excuses and no blaming. And at the core of that, it's about relearning to feel, really using feelings as resource. And the beauty of that is that it's really simple. There's only 4 feelings: anger, sadness, fear, and joy. and everything else, like seeing everything else as a mixture, which can be unmixed. So then there's 4 feelings, and they have a like relearning to feel again, because we learned really that at least three of them are really bad, right? Anger is bad. It's out of control. What is anger for you? What have you learned about anger? I mean, you might already know some other stuff, like you might have learned other stuff, but what have you learned about anger growing up, or being around your parents, being in school, and just shout it out, just bring it in.
Not acceptable.
It's not acceptable because
Hysterical. Yeah.
hysterical, violent.
Yeah.
It's destructive in any way.
Destructive, yeah. Childish maybe as well.
More like women shouldn't be angry.
Yeah, woman, yeah. I mean, women, it's not appropriate.
Yes.
I don't think everything's bad about anger. I actually think we need to express our anger sometimes to truly be what we're feeling. I mean, it's not necessarily all fluffy, but anger can be an important release for some of us, and that depends if we're angry with other people or if we're angry with ourselves, and therefore we can be internalizing our anger versus it being external as well. But I think anger, well, it's not necessarily a solution. It's actually an aspect of our being to be able to, express what may be happening, either with us internally or what's happening in our external environment, or how you've been treated, or how the world is being destroyed. And I think it's sometimes really important we get angry, because otherwise we can be quite complacent.
Yeah. Yes. Thank you. So that's already taking us to the new map of anger. So the old map, I'm talking about maps because that is what, we look at the world not as it is, we look at the world through maps, our beliefs of the world, our perceptions of the world. So when I take a map of the earth, which is, some people started out making this flat earth map before the likes of Copernicus and Galileo Galilei. And that was useful to have this map with a perception of a flat earth, even if it wasn't accurate. But at least for that territory that was mapped out, it was accurate. And there were valuable information on the map. And so it just was limited in possibility, because you would fall off and die. That was the risk. And so you'd not go to the edge there. It's too scary, too dangerous. And a lot of us have learned on this old map of the territory of anger that if you get angry, you get shunned out of society. You'll get punished. You'll get maybe backlash of anger. So we learned this old map of anger says that anger is bad. It's not okay. But then there's a new map of anger, just like there's a new map of the earth. Yeah, there was a new map when people discovered it's actually round, and that was big revelation. It was huge, and it gave more possibility. There was more adventure accessible, more possibility. People could circumnavigate the world, and there was this risk of falling off and dying was gone. And so with the new map of the territory of anger, is where you're tapping into, Amanda, already, is, yeah, anger is actually, the new map of anger says actually anger is a neutral energy and information. It's neutral. It's not good, it's not bad, but it's neutral energy. So this energy, the heat of anger, you probably already know. Yeah, you already know that. And also the information that comes with anger, something like you said, Amanda, of that, what I'm angry about, I care about. If I don't get angry, I don't care about anything. And that's not true. Like, everybody cares about something. Everybody has something that they're angry about. What do you have something that you're angry about in the world? so that you care about, something that you want to share.
I get angry with people that treat animals badly.
Yeah. You care about animals.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you.
I'm something is anger. I'm angry at what I see as a division in New Zealand. I'm not saying there wasn't division before, because I've only got my experience, but the division with the what's happened in the health or COVID, yeah, I'm concerned, so I care about it.
Yeah, you care about that.
I want to see the communication be more about moving together and togetherness and what we can do. And
So you care about communication and togetherness, collaboration. Thank you.
Yeah, my anger is a lot towards our illiteracy in emotions. Then, like, we're so poorly equipped of expressing what we feel. It's terrible.
Thank you. So you care about literacy of emotions and feelings.
Yeah, I am really angry with anyone that can hurt children. Yeah, that's a big one for me.
Care about children.
Yeah.
How about you, Ellen?
I care about lots of things. Something that probably hasn't been mentioned is the Gaia, the Earth, the planet Earth, and the judgment that I really care about our human beings, our human potential. I get angry if people say we are a pest on planet Earth, something like this. I do believe that this is true. I really think we're meant to be here, and I believe that we have a task to do here, and that we need to evolve. So, yeah, I really care. As much as I care for Gaia, I care for our human development. It's really important for me. And that's why I really believe that this work is so essential.
Thank you. Yeah, I resonate with all that you care about, and I'm angry about a lot of these things. And I'm also angry about this. It relates to what's been said. That's my anger, is about this. Yeah, about the modern culture way of doing, and I care about the human way of being. That there's space to be and live from that place of beauty, of human potential. So that is these are territory. That's a territory of anger that we'll explore in the ETB, or in Expand the Box training in general. Wherever you go to one of those, and the other, like, there's similarly this new territory of sadness and fear and joy as well to explore. They all have their own unique gift for us as a resource. And what happened with, just if I come back to the flat Earth and the round Earth map, that shift was huge. And had reality actually changed? So had the world changed its shape? Had it? No. Our perception of it changed, right? And that was huge. That's like humans growing up into the next evolution. And people that found that out, they found, hey, look, reality is different from what we believed it is. Some of these people were killed for that. So it's huge. There can be a lot of resistance in the current reality perception about So including you, including me, there can be resistance in going there because it can be such a fundamental new perspective. But just like the round world map wasn't there, like it was already there, we just didn't know about it. The next map is already there, we just don't know about it. And that's exciting. So one thing I can tell you, I used to be a space lawyer amongst other things. And so I looked at these NASA images from the Earth, of the Earth, and there are these images where they just look at the heat, and it shows actually the world is a potato. It's not even round. Forget it. It's a potato. Now, if it's a potato, imagine that the universe is just one piece big of void soil for something else. Who knows? Yeah, we could be these microbes on a little potato floating in some soil, huge soil that we don't know anything of. So the next,
There's an interesting
I mean, there's
possibility.
so much that we don't know, right? It's just
We don't even know what we don't know.
exactly. There's so much more possible, and that's where a lot of joy comes for me into this body of work. This immense potential of finding out, and then it's really about shifting into an experiential reality. So trying it out, like experiencing it, so that you have a reference in your own system about it, and expand the boxes. Yeah, there's a lot of information in those 4 days to give you the basis. So I mean, information, but again, it's not for your mind, actually. That's the entrance way. And then to bring it into your emotional bodies, your energetic body, your physical body, and your archetypal body, which is concerned with what you're here for. So that with this experience, you have this new reference point in yourself to go into the world and apply it in your daily life. So that's why it's a training and not a workshop or a class. It's really to expand your box, to help you change your belief systems, your stories about the world, and your experience. And that means you can, yeah, Ellen?
I would love to hook in. I mean, I have done ETBs, more than one. And for me, that is a key ingredient, this real experience, because we're so used to learn with our intellectual body and trying to understand with our intellectual body, and there it stops. The real learning and the real growth happens for me in sometimes really painful, but really intense and really beautiful experience through the practices that we did in the ETBs. That was just that's the gold that I have been taken away from. And after the first ETB, I couldn't even see it because I was just so in it. But now, having been involved in this work quite a while, I just so see how absolutely valuable and, yeah, not to be missed way of really going through that experience in a group as well, to have the group wisdom and the shared reality there. Yeah.
Thank you for adding that, Ellen. That's
Unfortunately, I have to leave you again. It was a very short stint. It wasn't not planned like this, but I need to leave.
That's great. We're going to finish soon too. Thank you. Thank you for dropping in.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Yeah, we're going to finish on time. So I'm just going to say a couple of more things and then we'll come to a close. This, I wanted to say that it's this initial training for this. It's designed to enable you to go to possibility laboratories afterwards, which are 3 to 5 days trainings, where you really dive into these evolutionary processes with initiation processes to help you transform and shift, especially conditioning around your parents, but also cultural conditioning through releasing or feelings and emotions. There's a distinction here between feelings and emotions, which we don't have time to dive into now, but that's part of the ETB. And so it's designed to give you the key distinctions, the key energetic information, so that you can hold the depth of the shifts that occur in possibility laboratories. And so the design is to have this expand the box training, and then afterwards come possibility labs, which recommended for really an initiation into adulthood is 10 labs, 10 possibility labs. That doesn't mean everybody does that and everybody goes through that journey. But from the other side of that, I'm telling you, why wouldn't you? It's like, it is too good to be missed. So I've done 13 labs to this point, and I'm gonna go to more because it's just so rich, and it creates this spaciousness in me to go into the next layer and develop further, or evolve rather than develop. So yeah, this is us for now. Thanks so much for showing up. You have my contact information. We'll have the Expand the Box training at Liz's place in Kirikiri next week from Thursday to Sunday. If you want to join, I know, Amanda, you said you can't. Julie, if that's anything that would be considerable for you, let me know. I'll send you the information of the event if you haven't seen it. And Severin might, I don't know where you're at, probably not coming to this one, but I'll be happy to set you up with also with the community down in Takaka. Yeah, thank you for being here and bringing yourselves in. I enjoyed meeting you. Does anybody need to say anything else before they leave?
I'd just like to say thank you. That was really nice and informative, and I enjoyed it. Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you. It was it was very informative. I enjoyed meeting everyone.
Yeah, I also want to say thanks to everybody showing up, and especially to you, Julia. Thank you for sharing and expressing so well.
Yeah, thank you.
Kia ora. Go well. Yeah.
Okay.
What were you going to say?
Oh, I'm just wondering if after this, because I can't attend this workshop, when might be another one at another time. And to be honest, I'm still a little bit unsure about what Expand the Box is, but that's okay.
Exactly.
I'm not worried about that, but I'm interested to know at another time when you might be doing the same sort of workshop that you're doing. I guess you need to do that workshop to go into before you go into the labs. Is that right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Okay.
Can I just add to that, Julia? Like when I did the first Expand the Box, afterwards I didn't know how to explain it. Even after the lab now, that's also why I joined now, just to hear it again, how Julia would share that. And it's really hard, and it's really, just go and do one, and then you realize, because it's really about the experiential, the somatic experience through your body. And then
nice.
it's like, all right, you're gonna get language for what you just did, which is great.
Nice.
Yeah, so I'm planning to do one in Auckland at the end of the 3 months that I'm at this stage in Auckland. So there'll be one in Auckland around that time. And then if there's more people interested in Kirikiri, I'll be happy to come back up there.
Sorry, at the end of 3 months, did you say?
So I haven't set any dates, but that would be, so what's now, June, July, August, September, sometime in September.
Okay, great.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Nice.
Okay.
Okay.
Take care.
Have a great weekend. Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.